All right, so to start, if you just want to state your name, where you were born, and your rank.
Just first, well, it's gonna pick it up, eh?
Yeah, it'll pick it up. Yeah.
My name's Cleedis Hancock. I was born in Coleman County, Alabama, and
Yeah, if you want to state your rank and your serial number, if you want to get that.
and I was gotta get my mind to working now. Is it picking that up?
Yeah, it's picking you up. Good. No worries. I mean, you take your time.
Well, I was trying to think of all of the dates when I was, it's hard to think of.
So, you were telling me a minute ago about the serial numbers that y'all have
Yeah.
in the Army. Do you want to say some of that now that we're recording?
Okay, my serial number. All right, my serial number was 5305, US 5305-4495. And when I went to Korea, I had the rank of being a PFC, as a private first class. And while we was in Korea, the United States Congress banned all rank, and nobody made rank the 15 months I was there. When I was PFC when I went over, and I was PFC when I come back. I stayed over 15 months. But I had 2 years active duty and 5 years inactive duty. I had 7 years altogether, and I made rank after I got home, and made rank after I was going to summer camp, 2 weeks every summer.
So you were drafted.
Yeah,
Right.
I was drafted. Yeah.
What was that like when you found out you'd been drafted?
Well, it ain't. It's not a good feeling, I don't think. It's a funny feeling, to think that you've got to go do something that you'd never even thought about doing, and you got to leave home. And if you're an old homeboy like I was, well, it's kind of hard to do, But it's something we had to do. It was no doubt about it.
So your basic training, was in Oklahoma, and
Well,
I guess.
listen, when I first went in, I went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina. That's the first place I went. And we stayed out there, and they figured out where they was going to put everybody. Had a whole gang of soldiers. And they sent them all over the country to different outfits. And they picked out, I think it's about 37 boys that's going to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and there's going to be in the artillery. And me and my buddy first met out there in Fort Jackson. His name's Bobby Burns from Tennessee, and we got to be good friends. And when they called out the ones to go to Oklahoma, me and Bobby was in the same outfit. I mean, in the same number. And they sent us out there together. And we got to Oklahoma, they put us in the same outfit. We got in the same group battery of in a artillery outfit. And we stayed together the whole time. And I stayed out there about 15 months. And the old captain come down to the motor pool where we was working and said that he had to have 10 volunteers to go to Korea. And he wanted 10 volunteers. He didn't want to have to pick anybody. And and Bobby, my friend, he was on stockade guard for 3 days and he wasn't there. So he says, if anybody wants to volunteer, put your name on this pad. And I said, hand me that pad. And I said, he handed me the pad, and I wrote Bobby E. Burns first, and I wrote Cleedis Hancock second, and handed it back to him. And he looked at it, he said, wait a minute, you put 2 names on there. I said, yeah, my friend Bobby's he's on stockade guard, and he won't be here for 3 days. And he wants to go. I know he does. He said, well, if he don't, I'll take him off. I said, okay. I said, that's good enough. So he left him on there. And me and him both went together. And we come home together and stayed 15 days furlough, and then went on and went to Korea. Went to California and then got on a ship to go to Japan and stayed on it 35 days. And the thing we really remember, we had a funeral on what was it? Equator. And as a captain in the Navy, wanted to be buried on the equator when he died. And he had passed away. And they had his funeral. And we had to stop for a week on the equator. And not throw out any garbage or anything for a solid week. And we had his funeral. And they put him on a roller in his casket and rolled him off into the water, and we stood there and watched him sink. And he went down real slow. And then we went on to Japan. And then I went from there to Korea. Landed in Busan. And they sent us to different places. Of course, there's about 5,000 of us. And they sent me and Bobby, we still stayed in the same outfit. Sent us off together. And went to across the 38th parallel to a place called Yeongnam-po, and put us in a 500 what do you call it? 105 outfit, artillery, 105 howitzers. And we got in the same outfit, same company in the battalion, and stayed together. Both of us got put in the motor pool. We stayed together the whole time. Was in there.
When you were crossing the Pacific, I know there's one story with Bobby on deck. Do you want to tell that story?
Yeah, we was crossing the Pacific before we stopped for the funeral. With all the suns was shining and the water was real smooth, and we was just sitting out on the deck, just looking at the sea. and amazed at it. And Bobby went to sleep. And while he was asleep, I got out a book of paper matches and put around his boots and to give him the hot foot. And he woke up, his foot is about to burn him to death, and he woke up and he was jumping around there trying to get his shoes off. And but it's a wonder he hadn't to kill me, but he really didn't get mad. He laughed about it later. But that is one of the things that happened that I really remembered.
There was a story, and I might be mixing it up when you're coming back, but I think when you were shipping out, didn't they not get you on a boat for a while?
Yeah, I just, when we was going over.
When you were, go.
Yeah. when we was going over, they sent us, the whole outfit we was in, they sent them to Seattle, Washington. And when we got up there, an old sergeant was in charge, and he said, "I'm going to put y'all up on the hill in that building. It's on top of the hill up there. And y'all stay up there till I come up there and get you. And we're going to process you. And when it comes time for you to get on the boat, I'll come get you." So he put us up on the hill, and we sat up there for 2 or 3 weeks, and nobody come to get us. And finally one day he come up there and he said, "You know, I forgot about sending y'all up here." He said, "Y'all's outfit's done gone." So they got on the boat yesterday. And I forgot all about y'all. And he said, "We're just going to have to put you in with another bunch, and you'll get on the next boat." So he did. In about 2 weeks or 3, so we got on another outfit, and they sent us to Korea.
One of the other things I remember you telling me was about eating on the boat because the Pacific was so.
Yeah. We were going on the boat, on the ship going over. We was on there 35 days going to Japan. And we went through a bad storm. And one day the ship would be going up and down, and you'd feel like you was just falling out of the sky when it'd go down. And then it got to where it was rolling from one side to the other, and it just about rolled you plumb out of the bed. You couldn't hardly sleep. But when we was eating, our trays was on a rack, a whole bunch of them standing there eating, and that ship would roll over, and them trays would just go down. Somebody wouldn't hold their tray, and it just might just knock yours out of the way. And but it's something else. It's a real bad storm.
So you just eat whatever food is in front of you, whether it's yours or not.
But it was all an experience, I tell you.
So you do you want to state a little bit about what you did while you served in Korea?
Well, I drove a track while I was in Oklahoma and pulled an 8-inch howitzer. The big track is kind of built like a tank. But in Korea, we had smaller guns, a 205 howitzer, and I pulled them with a truck. And I had to pull one, drove a truck, pulled it out in the field, and everywhere we had to move it, you know, I'd have to pull it. But and then I had to do all kind of things with the truck, haul ammo and such as that.
And you never fired a weapon while you were there?
Not a rifle, no. I've trained and had a rifle on my shoulder all the time, but I never did have to fire it, no. You had to carry your rifle wherever you went. If you didn't have your rifle hanging on your shoulder, they wouldn't feed you. They wouldn't let you eat. That's how strict they were. I remember one time as an old rifle somebody had left there. It was standing in the corner of the tent, and one of my buddies, they hollered to go eat, and he couldn't find his rifle. And I said, get that old rifle standing in the corner of the tent in there and carry it with you. And I said, he come out the door and he fired that thing coming out the door, and I said it went through the sideboard on the truck right by me. The bullet did. And I just got so weak I had to turn loose, and I fell down to the ground. And he thought he had shot me. He just like scared him to death. But I said it missed me about 6 inches.
So he almost shot you with a rifle that wasn't his.
Yeah. I mean, that was close, boy. I'll tell you, it went right through the sideboard, right there by me. If it had been over, it would come right through my chest.
Were there any other times where you were being shot at or you were almost killed while you were serving?
A few times we got hit, yeah, bad, but there wasn't very many of us got killed. We had foxholes. We'd get in, and I said when they'd shell us, we'd all get in our foxhole. But I remember one time we was getting shelled on one Sunday morning, and I said, the ammo section was up on the side of the hill, and they started firing artillery at us, and down in the valley where the guns are set up, and most all of them lived. That's where the shells was hitting. And I jumped in my foxhole. Everybody had their own foxhole around the tent. And I jumped in mine, and an old boy from Louisiana jumped in there on top of me. And every time one of them shells would come over the mountain, whistling, he'd say, and then it'd go off when it hit the ground. And he'd say, where'd that hit, Hancock? Where'd that hit? And I told him, I said, you're on top, you tell me where it hit. But he'd say that every time one come over. He was just scared to death.
Oh, yeah, this was one of the stories. I will say for the camera, really quick, I do have my grandmother helping us remember some of the stories we've heard over the years. So one time you were driving the truck while it was being shot at, right? And it was loaded up with shells.
Oh, yeah. Well, over in Korea, each battery in the battalion I was in is a 553rd Field Artillery. We had a little old gun. They called it just a small gun, a lot smaller than the ones we fired in the 105s. But each battery had to carry it up on the front line and shoot point blank every one battery every day for a while. And we caught it every third day. And I had to haul ammo up there for it. I'd set it to telephone, and when they'd run out of ammo, they'd call me, and I'd carry something up there. And I was driving up there, got up to the top of the hills toward the front lines where the enemy was, and I had to turn left and go down the hill where they was shooting. And and they started shooting at me with artillery. And one round had hit out in front of me, and one back behind me. One out front and one back behind me. And I was driving wide open as I could go, which wasn't very fast. And this old boy was with me, the assistant driver, he was down in the floorboard. And every time I wanted to go off, he'd say, "Where'd that hit, Hancock? Where'd that hit?" And I said, no, he'd say, "Turn around, let's go back. Turn around, let's go back." I said, "We can't turn around. If we stop, they'll hit us." And I just kept driving, and finally I went behind another mountain, and they couldn't see me, and they quit shooting. But he was wanting me to turn around and go back. Turn around and go back.
And if you had, you would have died.
Oh yeah, they sure got me. There's one tree standing. There's the only one that's left. Had green leaves on it. It was standing right up on the side of the road. And just as I passed it, one of them shells went right down through that tree and just blowed it all to pieces. And a piece of shrapnel come through the windshield on his side. But I said he wasn't there. He was down in the floorboard. And it didn't hit us. But it broke the windshield.
Mm-hmm.
Scared us to death.
I think one more before I have to redo the camera. There was another time where you got sick in Korea, right? And you were sent away from your outfit for a while to recover.
Oh yeah, I had to go to hospital. Mm-hmm. In fact, I had I had operation for gallbladder operation. And they sent me back to the hospital, and while I was gone, they shelled my outfit, and a whole bunch of my buddies got killed, and some of them got wounded. And it was the hardest we'd ever been hit, and ever was hit afterwards. It was that time. But I wasn't there, and my buddy Bobby, he was there. And it got a correct hit on number 5 gun. We had 6 guns, and number 5 got a direct hit while they was shooting it, and several of them got killed, and the sergeant, he got killed. And of course I missed all that because I was in the hospital.
Did you have any friends that were there that died while you were in Korea?
Well, none of my closest friends got killed, but most everybody in their outfit, I knew real well, and there's a bunch of them got killed.
Several of them.
Yeah, several of them.
I'm gonna restart the camera because it pauses every 30 minutes, and then we'll get a few more questions.
Okay.
starting on our second one here.
You hadn't told the story about being on watch duty all night when you changed that North Korean soldier was just a few feet from you. Reared up and shot, but didn't hit nobody, and then he run.
We're going right now. If you wanna, do you wanna start with that one? No, you're okay. You're okay, because we're in the middle of kind of a break period still, but it is recording, so.
Yeah, we'll start with that. Tell me when.
You're good. You
Okay.
can go.
Let's see.
You're on guard duty all night.
Oh, yeah, we had a gate coming into our outfit over in Korea, and I had to have a guard on the gate at all times. And it come a big snow on the ground. And the boy that was on the gate, there was a North Korean, had on a white uniform laying in the snow right by, real close to him. And he happened to notice him move or something. He was buried down in the snow. And he shot his gun, and the North Korean jumped up and run off. And he had been laying there watching. He's probably going to shoot somebody, but he never did. He run off. Anyway, it scared this boy really bad. And he had just relieved me off the gate, and this happened just after I left. I guess he was laying in the snow while I was there.
I know another one. You had a guy in your outfit who left a truck in enemy territory one time.
Yeah, we was all up on the front, carried the little gun up there like we did every third day, and shot point blank at different things. And we was all up there, and we had when I went up there and got shot at so many times going up there to carry some ammo, well, the lieutenant said we was going to wait till after dark to go back. He said we'll stay up here till it's dark, and we'll have to drive in the dark, you know. So this boy was another boy was driving a truck up there. And we all followed the Jeep coming back, and have our lights on. Had to drive in the dark with our little bitty driving lights on. And and we had to got to one section where we had to turn right and go down to our outfit. And we got to that point, this boy turned left and drove down across the enemy line, and he said the guns was shooting over his head, and he got scared and jumped out and left his truck and walked. He found his way back walking in the dark, and he finally got to our outfit about 2 o'clock in the morning. It took him that long to walk back. And but he had left his truck, and he said he didn't have no place to turn around. He just jumped out and left it. And so he got in trouble about that. But they had to send a crew up there to get the truck, you know. And they fussed about that because they had to go up there right there where the enemy was to get that truck. And they did, but they made it out all right.
When you, I do want to clarify one thing. You had said that you were in the hospital with your gallbladder, but it was actually kidney stones. Right?
Kidney stones,
Kidney
yeah.
stones.
Kidney stones.
We got to fix that during the break. But when you were riding the ambulance up to the hospital, there was another boy in the ambulance with you, right?
Yeah, they picked me up one Sunday evening, and there's another boy already in the ambulance that come down from the front lines, and he had been shot and had shrapnel shots. I didn't know how bad, but he kept hollering and carrying on, and every time a ambulance had hit a bump, why he'd cuss and carry on and fuss at the driver, wanting him to be careful and quit bumping him so. And I couldn't see him because it's dark in there. And he was laying on one side of the ambulance and I was on the other side. Well, I got down to the train station where they had to take us out of the ambulance and put us on a train and carry us down to Tucson to the hospital. And they laid us in a rack there at the train station. Stretchers laid them in a rack, me and him side by side. And I looked over there and that boy was shot all over. He had shrapnel in his face and his hands and his arms. He just had pieces, just places all over him where he had been shot. And I thought that was the reason he was cussing the driver, because he hit them bumps. And but I never did get to see him no more after that.
So you don't know
I
what
don't know.
happened to him?
I don't know what happened to it.
There was another time you had a kind of a close call. A shell landed just a few feet away from you.
That was from where I have to. I was at, like I said, I was in the artillery, and we was in a different place to where the infantry was, you know. And right on the hill, right back from us, I could see them and hear them. There was really a fighting. They had guns a firing, and they was just really having a battle. And I said, there's one of the shells hit right there, hit right just a few feet from me. I heard it hit the ground, and I finally went and picked it up. It didn't go in the ground, it stayed on top. I went and picked it up and put it in my pocket and brought it home with me.
Do you still have it?
No, I've misplaced it. I don't know where it's at now.
It's probably somewhere in
Yeah.
this house.
It's still here, but I don't know where. I can't find it.
Oh man, that's neat. I didn't know you kept it.
Yeah. But I probably still got it, but just don't know where it's at.
What was the process of driving the artillery truck like when it's loaded up with all the shells?
Well, we was really way back behind the line when we went back to get ammo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's back further south from where they was doing all the fighting. And we never had no trouble when we went back to get ammo.
Yeah.
You know, you're just moving away from it.
So y'all loaded it up similar to the pictures right here, right? How did you actually load it and unload it?
Well, you can tell right there we was loading it by hand.
Yeah.
Throwing them big shells, they weighed 96 pounds apiece. and we just had to throw them things up on the back of the truck like that. You can see where,
I see that picture of you just casually holding
Yeah.
it there.
and that's where I mashed my finger. I hit the back of the bed between the shell and the bed, and I really messed that finger up. And, but it happened that day. That's the day this picture is taken. It was before that happened. You know that picture. It shows me there.
Your friend, Bobby.
Bobby, yeah.
Burns is in there. Now, what was it like unloading it?
Unloading it,
Yeah.
just tumble it off on the ground. Yeah. And then
Dump
stack
it
it up, you know. Let it hit the ground.
That's funny.
It wasn't as hard to unload as it was to load.
Gravity's helping you the other way.
Yeah.
So you served from December of '51 to March of '53?
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of that time was kind of during the point where they had worked back down to the 38th parallel,
Yeah.
and there wasn't a lot of movement towards the end of that period, right?
Not a lot, no.
So did you leave behind a lot of friends when you came home?
Yeah, I'll tell you about this. You rotated and come home on points. You got so many points a month while you was there. And when it come time for you to come home, there's offering you $1,000 if you would re-up for another year and stay over there. And my friend Bobby, he stayed. He re-upped, and he told a captain when he signed up to stay that he thought Hancock was going to stay too. And I went to the orderly room for something. No, captain said, "Hancock, I hear you're going to stay with us." And I said, "I don't know who told you that, but I'm going home." And he said, "I don't blame you, I would too." And I come home and left my good friend Bobby over there. And he is already made sergeant, and he is a sergeant over the ammo section, you know.
Bobby was?
Mm-hmm. And something happened. He is a little Korean boy staying up there. And I don't know exactly what happened, but the little old boy was doing something, and the captain seen him, and he took Bobby's rank away from him. He busted him down and cut his pay. And of course, he still had to do the same job, but he cut him back to a PFC instead of a sergeant.
Cut his rank?
Yeah, cut his rank, cut his pay too.
Bobby, he stayed in the Army for a long time, didn't he?
Pretty good a while after I got out, yeah.
He, was that his career?
No, he stayed in the National Guard for 40 years.
National Guard. That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking of.
He draws a pension, a big pension, you know.
I think there was something else I was going to ask about Bobby. Oh, you've kept in touch with him over the years.
Hmm?
You've kept in touch with Bobby over the
Oh, I
years.
still do, yeah.
Yeah. Y'all saw him recently.
Yeah. His son passed away, and we went to the funeral a few weeks back. Yeah.
How old is Bobby now? He's
Bo-
Poppy's age?
Bobby is a week, his birthday is a week from mine. We're just about the same age, yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
His
Yeah, his feet froze over in Korea.
Yeah, they
Did he get
did.
really bad frostbite? Or?
He got frostbite, yeah. and it still bothers him, you know. But he is a good friend, I'll tell you.
Y'all made $87 a month over there?
85, 87, yeah.
How much?
As a PFC pay was about $87.
And how was that for the time?
It wasn't very much, I'll tell you. If you could have made rank, but
They stopped.
the United States Congress froze all rank, and they didn't nobody make any. Maybe just maybe an officer might get moved up, you know, from a lieutenant to first lieutenant to a second lieutenant, so on and so forth. But for a long time, none of us make any rank. Didn't get no raise or nothing. They want to save money. That's what they're after.
Well,
Yeah.
a war like Korea, especially when you have so much artillery and stuff like that, it does get expensive. And the first place that they can cut it is salaries of the soldiers. So.
Well, they never did cut our pay. We still got
But by preventing you from being able to make
we
more,
being able to make more,
it's
you
worth
know.
it. Like you said,
If you get ranked like you're supposed to do, while your pay is go up, you know. And they saved all of that by not freezing the rank.
There's the. I'll go ahead and show that for the camera. That was you.
Yeah.
Kind of looks.
I guess a little bit. You when you went into the Army, I don't remember exactly how much you said you weighed or your waist size. You might remember that.
I was a lot smaller than I am now. Of course, I ain't very big now, but I was about 125 pounds.
125 when you went in,
Yeah.
and you wore like a 28 waist.
Yeah,
Right?
28.
And when you got out, you weighed like 150, and you'd only gone up a couple inches in the waist.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were a lot stronger going on. I think the picture made me think of that. I guess before we get to some of those questions, what was it like coming home? You rode the boat back too, right? Boat back from.
Yeah, I come back to California landed in California. And they give us there's about 5,000 of us come back on that ship. And when we get landed, they give us all a steak dinner. Went in a big, huge mess hall, and they've served us a steak dinner. I mean, sure enough, it's sure enough something. And while we was eating, the sergeant got up on the table and said he had a little announcement to make, and he wanted everybody to listen while he was talking and make sure we heard what he said. And he said, when you go to, there's 87 lucky people in this room, and I'm going to call out 87 names. And said, I don't want you to check out no bed clothes or nothing. Said to sleep tonight up on your top of your bunk. Just lay on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't check out nothing. And in the morning at 6 o'clock, you got to get up and leave. And you're going to be carried to the airport, and you're going to catch a plane to Kentucky. And y'all will be real lucky you'll get out of this place in the morning. And the rest of you are going to stay here 2 weeks and catch a troop train and go. And he said, now I'm going to call out 87 names. Well, he did, and my name is in the bunch. And he said, don't unpack your duffel bag or nothing, just leave it like it is. And sleep in your clothes and get up and leave at 6 o'clock. And I did. I got up and caught a Greyhound bus and went to the airport. And they put us on an airplane and flew us to Kentucky. And we got there and sat there for 2 or 3 weeks waiting on that bunch to come back from California on a troop train. we had to sit there and wait on them. So we didn't get to go home anyway.
So it didn't really get you home any faster.
Not a bit.
How many people were there? You said 87 got called out
87
for the
boat.
plane, but how many were they pulling from?
Oh, there's 5,000 of us come home on that ship. Yeah.
So 87 out of 5,000, you were one of them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like Poppy. One thing I didn't actually have this originally, but how was the food while you were in Korea? How was the food?
The food, well,
Yeah.
we had pretty good food, about similar to what we had in the States, yeah. You know.
I know that was, which I'm a lot more familiar with some of World War II comparatively, but I know in World War II, that was one of the big differences for our troops versus, especially in the Pacific Theater against the Japanese.
Yeah.
In World War II, they didn't have a lot of food, and our troops were very well fed.
That's kind of the difference of being in an artillery outfit and an infantry outfit. You get a better chance in the artillery to have the same food about every day, you know. If they can get it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And usually they can. But in the infantry, it's different, you know. You just, they're all over the place. You might be out on a hike or something, and
So they don't know
you
necessarily.
just don't always have good food.
Did you make any trades with South Koreans while you were?
Any trades?
Yeah.
I can't think of any.
Grandma, if you want
Yes,
to say, if you want to
We
say.
carried those kegs. Y'all had to carry a bunch of kegs to the South Koreans, and they were eating breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
You had a load of them. Y'all would do that every once in a while.
Yeah.
Wasn't it kegs?
It's
Maybe it's-
boxes, some kind of boxes, you know.
Okay.
Wooden boxes. Anyway,
We'll tell him that story.
there's ammo boxes is what it was. And there's South Koreans that build little shacks out of them, you know. And they'd come get a bunch of them, and we'd have to carry them to them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent me down there with a load. And got down there early in the morning, and they was eating breakfast. And I went in the mess hall where they was eating, and this South Korean soldier, he could speak English, And he said, come in and sit down. He said, you want some coffee? He said, this is our coffee. And he had a cup of water. He said, this is what we drink for coffee. He said, that's what you get coffee, don't you? And I said, yeah. And he said, this is our coffee. We drink water.
Rice.
A lot of rice.
Rice and coffee, rice and water.
Yeah.
That's actually
That
really
was their
similar.
breakfast.
Yeah, I was eating breakfast.
That's South Korean.
But he laughed, when he said that. You want some coffee?
He was laughing.
And then laughed about it because he was drinking water.
Well, I'm gonna set the camera back and we'll keep going here. Just a second.
Well, the highest mountain in Korea was 10,062 feet above sea level. They call it Hill 1062.
10,062 feet.
Yeah.
The tallest mountain. What was it called?
That's what they called it, 1062.
1062.
There's a picture
Yeah.
in the snow.
Did you go there?
Yeah, I've been right up on top of it.
There's pictures. This
The
book's
snow.
got a lot of good pictures in it that you can put
But
in with your
there's
documentary.
the enemy was decided that we'd took that mountain from them, we'd run them off of it. And they decided they'd take it back. And one of our first lieutenants had to go up there and call the fire for the guns, He had to call and give them how to set their gun to make it hit in a certain place, And he said them Chinese come up that mountain in droves, hundreds of them, and said the first drove would have guns, and said we'd just mow them down. Our artillery and everything, they'd just kill them and they'd just roll off of the mountain. I mean, there's a steep mountain that was coming up. There wasn't no trees hardly there because it had been blowed all to pieces. And he said them Chinese would just roll off that mountain and pile up down there in piles of dead Chinese. He said it is the pitifulest looking sight you'd ever seen in your life. And he said the first drove would have guns, going to try to fight. And the second drove wouldn't have any, and they'd try to pick up the ones the first ones had and use them. And he said they just killed them, and we was shooting at them. Our guns is back here shooting, all of the artillery. And it lasted for 3 days and 3 nights without stopping. And we finally killed so many of them, I guess, they decided they couldn't take it.
I didn't want the hill
No.
that bad.
And but he said it's a sight to look at that. And he was up there calling fire, give them a call back and give them how to set their gun to hit in a certain place. And that's a sight.
That's the Russian strategy from World War II. You send the first line with guns. Tell the ones behind them, find something on the battlefield. Because the Russians, in World War II, they had by far the biggest force. They just weren't as equipped as other people were.
Yeah.
I guess China was probably similar, reinforcing North Korea in that way.
Yeah.
We'll pause for a second while the
Call from Hancock Jeffrey.
Jeff.
And Jesse.
Call from Hancock Jeffrey.
I think it said Jeffrey. It's Jeff calling. All right.
Look, there's a picture in cold real. Look at that. You talk
Snow.
about cold weather. That boy is cold there. You just take a look at these. Yeah, that's a cold spot right there, buddy. I said, weather doesn't stop the 7th.
That's your division.
Yep.
Seventh Infantry.
There's the second to none. That's the 2nd Division there. 7th.
Yeah, that's your.
The 7th Division, and it's 2nd to none. Here's a different division right here. That's the 2nd Division. But this is the 7th up here.
That's the symbol on your cap too.
Yeah. Love conquers all. I don't know what that means. "31st Field Artillery." That's us there, the blasters. That's what I was in. Right there. But none of them people look familiar right there. These people just went all over Korea and took pictures wherever they seen it. You know, made this book. That deer.
Oh, looks so skinny.
Soldiers feeding him something. He must be hungry. Rudolph of
Rudolph of
Silmo Silmos. Oh, well. And more.
Temperamental pet.
Huh?
More temperamental pet.
Yeah. That's a machine gun. But we had an stirred enough.
Bulldozer.
Yeah. There's that little old gun I was talking about.
Yeah.
That's one we carried up there every once in a while. Little old shell about that big around, you know.
Anti-tank.
Yeah, anti-tank gun. We carried that thing up there, and that lieutenant was he had to find a target, you know, looking through his glasses and shoot at it with that gun, point blank, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And as an old man come down over the mountain and had 2 kegs or something over his back, told it is probably food for the North Korean soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
And he just leveled that old gun down on him and just blowed him all to pieces. Kegs and all.
Hit him with the.
Hit him
45.
point blank with one of them big shells. Boy, it's pitiful. I'm in here a gun somewhere. I can find it. There's where we get up on the hill and watch these jets bomb, you know. We'd sit back here on the hill and watch.
You just watch them fly over and
Yeah.
bomb.
Everyone helps. Them jets down there went back to Pusan to get a load of beer. I mean, a whole truck, that 2.5 ton truck. You know how the frames look on a army truck.
Yeah.
That thing was level full of beer, cases of beer. I mean, just all they could stack it just level to the top. And coming on back, I had to go through a MP checkpoint. And that's the MP come out to check, see where I was going, you know, and find out what I was hauling. And he said, there's a bunch of South Korean soldiers here wants to go up about where you're going. And said, will you give them a ride? And I said, yeah, tell them to climb on there. And he did. He could speak to them, you know. And they all got up on the back of my truck with all that beer on there and rode till I got there. It took us 3 or 4 hours to get back to where I was going. And we unloaded that beer, and you ought to have seen it, the empty cans on top of that. I mean, they drank that stuff while, and I didn't know it. I couldn't see them, you know. But they
were drinking your beer.
They was drinking the beer and putting the empty can back in the bottle. Drinking that old hot beer. Ooh. And that's what I was hauling now. Went back there, I bet you I had 500 cases of beer on that truck.
Would you say, well, before I ask that question, you and Grandma and me were talking about some of the famous people that were there in Korea, same time you were.
Oh yeah, about like General Eisenhower and so on and so forth.
Eisenhower was there.
And who was that cowboy? What was his name?
Robert.
Huh?
Robert Calhoun.
Roy Calhoun, yeah, and him and his wife was there. They come stayed 3 or 4 days with us. Several did. I can't remember all of them, but there's one old lady come. I can't remember who she was to say about neck. Real old. I mean, big old fat woman, great big woman. And them officers, she come stayed 2 or 3 days with us, and they'd have to carry her to the bathroom. And it'd be one of them officers to carry her down to where the bathroom was, and they'd stand out there till she come out and carry her back. She was a real old lady. I can't remember her name.
I definitely wouldn't know it.
I don't ever remember.
Well, she is some famous woman, you know, but I can't remember what.
You said Bob Hope was there?
Bob Hope, yeah, seen him, yeah.
Bob Hope was
Oh,
there.
yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. Do you look back at your time in the Army positively or negatively, or how do you view it?
I view it positively, yeah, you know. biggest, the biggest part of it I enjoyed, yeah. Some of it, a little of it I didn't, but most of it is pretty enjoyable.
What would be an example of something that you didn't enjoy about it?
Well, I don't know. I can't think of anything right off, but
That's okay.
that one thing I didn't enjoy is chasing that colored man around with that gun, you know, and him was saying that he was going to run, you know, and he didn't believe I'd shoot him and all that stuff. I didn't enjoy that.
That was in Oklahoma, right?
Yeah, I was in the States, yeah.
So what was he? You were on guard duty, is that right?
Yeah,
Do you want to tell that story?
you get you get stockade guard every so often, you know, not real often, but every once in a while, and it lasts 3 days. Like when I volunteered Bobby to go to Korea, he was on stockade guard. He wasn't there, and I put his name down under mine, or above. I wrote his name first and my name right under it. And of course, he was all the time saying he wanted to go to Korea. He wished he'd send me to Korea. And I thought, well, he's wanting to go. I'm gonna send him, you know.
Yeah.
And that old captain, he didn't like it to start with. He said, "Wait a minute, you put 2 names on there." He said, "We can't do that." And I said, "Well, old Bobby's on stockade guard and he ain't here." I said, "He'll be gone 3 days.
But you knew he was wanting to go.
And I know he really wants to go." He said, "Okay, I'm going to leave it on there, but if he don't want to go, I'm going to take it off." I said, "That's fine with me." And he left it on there. He wanted 10 or 15 volunteers. Seemed like it's 10, I believe. He said, "I want 10 volunteers and I don't want to have to pick nobody. I want volunteers." I mean, he said, I don't want to send nobody to Korea. But he said, "If anybody wants to go, take your name and we'll get you going." And I put old Bobby's name on there too.
So,
If he'd have got killed over there, I probably really regretted that.
putting his name down.
Hmm?
You would have regretted putting his
Yeah.
name down if he had.
Yeah.
I'll get Tim better once in a while. You're the cause of it.
Yeah, every once in a while he would. He said,
Jerk off.
you know, things would get kind of rough, you know, and he'd say, "Doggone, it hadn't been for you, I wouldn't be over here." Oh, man. Mm.
So, when you were on guard duty, why did you have to, you didn't shoot him, but you had to pull your gun on that guy when you were on stockade guard?
Oh, yeah, I had to follow him around. What he was doing, he picking up cigarette butts all over the post. Pick up anything, it's all any kind of paper or anything had been thrown out. Mainly cigarette butts.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to walk with him, you know. Just hold my gun up here ready to shoot all the time. And and he'd say, of course, this black guy, he's the only one that ever sat down. I was on it 2 or 3 different times. And but he said, "You wouldn't shoot me, would you?" I said, "You just better not run." He said, "I just don't believe you would shoot me." I said, "Well, if you want to find out, you just take off."
But you
Huh?
wouldn't have done it, right?
I shot him,
You would
yeah.
have?
Yeah, goodness. What they told you, if,
you were,
if you don't shoot him, you'll have to spend his time.
so you'd have to,
And if you shoot him, we'll give you a pack of cigarettes and a $50 and send you some of the camp. I don't know what they think you do with a $50.
They passed out cigarettes to them in Korea.
yeah.
Is that crazy?
Well,
They-
yeah.
They didn't know as much as they know now about how bad smoking is for them. It's not that, that
Hmm?
might not have stopped anything anyway.
Well, the Red Cross, they'll come around and give you cigarettes.
Mm-hmm. Red Cross definitely doing it too. You said that that was one of the things you didn't enjoy, guarding that guy up. Stories like that.
Now there's a night mail. That's that old gun that I was talking about. And that thing make the office. There's a little old barrel about that big around. Them puppies.
Recruits.
Look, there's a self-division patch. That's a drum, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 puppies on there. Says I see them. I see them. Troubleshooters. That's the medics. They're picking up a wounded soldier. The main line of resistance.
So I know we talked a little bit about when you left, but what was it like leaving Bobby?
Oh, that was hard to do. I hated to do that so bad.
Because he signed up to stay a little bit longer,
Yeah,
like you said. But,
he really thought I would too. But he told her, he didn't tell me he was going to sign up.
he just did it.
He just did it, and he told the captain, he said, I think Hancock is going to stay too. And when I went to the orderly room, he asked me about it. Said, Hancock, I hear you're going to stay with us. I said, what? He said, I hear you're going to stay with us. Well, I said, well, I don't know who told you that, but I'm wrong. I'm going home. And he said, I don't blame you. I would too. But Bobby had told him, and he thought,
He thought you
I found out later, yeah. Give him $1,000, and he signed up for another year. And I turned that down, but it flat.
You were ready to come home.
Better believe it.
Do you feel like you've not necessarily just in the money while you were there, but in the services that the VA gives? Do you feel like you've been adequately repaid for your service?
Not really, no.
So how could they do more to help veterans?
Well, they're pretty good to
VA is.
veterans. VA is, yeah. But I think they could do just like we went to Korea, and all the time I stayed over there, and nobody made any rank. That wasn't fair.
Yeah.
You know, I was a PFC. I made PFC before I went over there. And when I come home, I was still PFC. Made the same money to hold 15, what's that?
You keep telling. I'm reading her notes.
Oh,
But they're for me. They're not for you.
okay. Anyway, but it wasn't fair for them to freeze the rank like that.
Yeah. Because you served for 15 months and never got promoted.
15 months and made the same $87 every month. Now you just think about that. I mean, all 15 whole months, never got a bit of raise. Of course, I didn't. My money come home. I didn't get it no way, but I didn't care about that. They ought to give us a rank.
Yeah. They should.
I stayed over long enough to make. I ought to have been a sergeant when I come out. Just look at the money they saved by doing that.
Yeah. Because they did it for everybody.
Yeah, boy, they saved a lot of money. Of course, I can understand it cost a lot of money, but still, it wasn't fair to us.
So, do you use the VA services for your health care?
Some, yeah. They give me my glasses and my earplugs, what do you call them?
Hearing aids?
Hearing aids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get all that free.
Through the VA.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
And these hearing aids cost $8,000.
That is good, man. You definitely need them.
Huh? Boy, I'll tell you what.
Great example.
It's amazing. And take that out like that. I can't hear what you say. I can't even hear what I'm saying. That's the truth.
I was thinking that when I was talking to you on the phone this morning. I was yelling and you still couldn't hear me.
But that there just opens it up, boy, I'm telling you.
Yeah, then you can actually hear. Well, it's about to run out, but I'm kind of out of questions. Are there any other stories that y'all can think of? And we can always, if y'all want to sit down and do another session, if you think of other stuff, we can record the rest of it just for us. But if there's anything else right now you wanted to say before we wrap it up.
Well, at the moment, I can't think of anything, but
How much you love Bobby. You still love Bobby that much.
Yeah.
Bobby's his closest brothers. When you're in war together, it's a brotherhood. They're closer than brothers, actually.
well, Bobby is the way I feel about Bobby.
Yeah.
He's the closest friend I ever had of anybody, you know. I don't know why. Really, I guess a lot of different reasons, but
And soldiers serve together. There's a camaraderie between them that's closer than brothers. It's always.
now men,
He can see a
See,
veteran out somewhere.
the way it
Salute
was.
him, shake his hand or something. And they love each other.
the way it was, me and him went in the Army at the same time. Went to South Carolina. And that's where we met at. We actually slept side by side up there in that when we first got there. And we got to really know one another. And for somehow we just hit it right off, you know. And we stayed friends. You know, when we left together.
Slept in the same boat tent up there.
And went to Oklahoma. Stayed out there 15 months. In the same outfit, stayed in the same room, slept side by side. All the time. went everywhere together, come home together, and just everything.
Tell them about the time y'all got
Oh,
out from.
wait, let me,
Oh,
if you got more stories, we're gonna
oh,
do more
that's
tape.
just about you.
We just got the arguing that was in his car.
Where were you? Oklahoma. Were you in Oklahoma?
Somewhere in Oklahoma, I don't know where yet. Anyway, we got to arguing about football. He was a Tennessee fan and I was an Alabama fan. Of course, we was always different when it come to that. And we got to arguing about football, 'cause it's during football season, somehow or another. And me and him and two other boys was out and riding around in town, just riding around doing nothing. And we got to arguing about Alabama and Tennessee. And he said, well, you just stop the car, he told his guys, and just stop the car and we just get out here and settle it right here. And we got we got out there in front of the car, you know, and made out like we was really going after one another. and, and these boys thought we was really mad at one another.
Oh, man.
That sounds just like Bob. They got back in the car and left.
They weren't actually mad, they were just,
Oh, man.
just laughing.
He'd come home together. When we come home on furlough,
Furlough.
yeah, he'd bring me home. He had a 36 Ford,
Oh, look at me.
1936 Ford out there, and he'd bring me home, and we'd spend our furlough at home, and then Rita's and Malin and Bill would carry me back up there, and to his house, and we'd go back to Oklahoma. Never did ride the bus out there, except the first time I went.
Well, that's all I have.
I can't think of anything.
Thank you for sitting down and doing the interview today. And
I'll
thanks
tell
for
you-
allowing me. I know you helped him kind of organize his thoughts a little bit too.
I'll tell you this before we quit. Well, you might not want to put it on there, but is when we come home to go to Cleedis, I didn't write Mom and tell her I was coming home. 'Cause I got a 15-day furlough to spend at home before I went to Korea after I left Oklahoma. And the old first sergeant lived in Florida, and he said, I'm going home, and I take a load up. I'm going through Birmingham. He said, I can carry 3 people, and I'll charge you $20 apiece to ride from here to Birmingham. And I said, you want my 20 right now? And he said, no, just wait and pay me later. And I said, well, I sure want to go.
Oh, he got you the pass to get to go.
Yeah.
You didn't have it coming. He said he'd get you a furlough if you
He
wanted to.
said, well, I'll get you a 3-day pass.
3 days.
Already had a furlough.
Okay.
And he got me 3 days besides that to give me the traveling time, you know.
Mhm.
He said, then you can stay at home all that time. Anyway, we come to Birmingham, and he put me out in Birmingham. I said, oh, if you just, when you go through Birmingham, just let me out. I know some people that work there. I'd go over where they work and ride with them, you know.
Mhm.
And I did. I went over to Alabama to see that town, and I knew some people that worked over there. And I rode home with them. Well, they put me out down there at the road. They brought me right there
Mhm.
at the road down there.
Yeah.
And I walked up the hill, you know. Didn't tell Bob I was coming. She didn't know nothing about it. And I come up to the house and I went around and looked through the window, and Mama was sitting at the table writing a letter. And I went to the front door and I opened the door a little bit. I said, Mama, who you writing to? She said, I'm writing Cleedis a letter. And she thought I was mailing. Said it sounded like my.
Your brother, yeah.
And I directly she looked up and she like to have faded.
And you did Bobby that way one time too, when we went up there, when
Yeah.
he was fixing his lawnmower.
Yeah.
You like to,
Yeah,
we
we
slipped in on him one time.
we went up to Bobby's one time and
They
Yeah.
lived in Tennessee.
And y'all were friends with
Oh,
them
yeah.
throughout.
Yeah,
right?
throughout
Oh,
the
yeah,
years, our
we've
kids
always
grew up
been
together.
friends.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went in the house, you know, and Faye was there. That's his wife. She let us in. The old Bobby was out back working on his lawnmower. And I looked out the window and he was out there piddling with his lawnmower. And directly he went to he had a little house back there where he kept all his tools and stuff.
Mm.
And he went in there, went in that little house, and I slipped out there and got up on his lawnmower, you know, and I was sitting there, made out like I was driving. And he come out of that house, you know, and I was still just making out like I was running that lawnmower. And he said, Cleedis Hancock.
He liked to find it.
Yeah.
We snuck in on him.
But that tickled me. He just when he
Cleedis Hancock.
looked up and seen me, he said, well, Cleedis Hancock. Real loud, you know.
Bobby's had some hard times.
I tell you, man, there ain't no friend in the world like old Bobby, though.
Definitely get really close to somebody, like Grandma was saying, when you serve with them. All that y'all
Yeah,
been
man.
through. Well, I guess I'll end it right there. I know several people, I was letting people know that I was doing this for a class project, and several people wanted to thank you for your service. So
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice.
they appreciate what you've done.
It's amazing when you go out now, especially, I don't know, the last few years it's been better. When we go out at restaurants or anything, if he has his hat on, people come up. Sometimes there'll be soldiers and they'll salute each other.
Mhm.
It's so neat. But they'll come up and say, thank you, sir, for your service. And that's a sweet thing now because it didn't happen for a long time. Koreans and the Korean veterans and the Vietnam veterans were kind of shunned there for a long time.
Yeah.
But it's better
It's a little
now.
different now.
It's different now. People,
People will thank you.
thank you for your service.
Every time I go out somewhere, somebody else want to shake my hand, you know.
And, but it's so neat when you see a soldier and they'll salute each other. It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. Makes it all worthwhile, don't it?
Makes you feel better. Yeah.
Yeah.